Okay, in this video, I'm going to be reviewing a classic. Batman issue 493, part of the Knightfall storyline. At this point, Knightfall had already begun, and Bane had already broken all of the lunatics out of Arkham Asylum, knowing that Batman won't rest until they're all back in their cells. Batman is currently pursuing the serial killer, Victor Zsasz, who has just broken into an all-girls school named Bates School for Girls, and like something straight out of a slasher movie, is going to go on a rampage. Batman shows up at the all-girls school just about the same time that some of the students decide that they're not going to hide scared waiting for Batman or the police to come to their rescue. But when you see how the cops are not faring any better than any of these students would, you kind of see that them trying to stand up to Zsasz is a very bad idea. Kind of shows you how stupid feminists are, and were, even back in the 90s when this was published. Zsasz tosses the dead bodies of the cops out the window, and they land directly on a police car, and then he yells at the police saying since his demands were ignored, 2 girls will now pay with their lives. But that's when Batman makes his move and grapples in. Batman enters the building and uses his infrared lenses that are in his cowl to essentially be able to see what's going on in the dark. Soon after entering, Batman hears that there is someone right outside the door. He thinks it could be Victor Zsasz, but it turned out to be Robin, who then tells him that he had a run-in with one of Bane's stooges, as he puts it, who is actually watching them, as Robin then leaves to pursue him. So anyways, then Victor Zsasz says he's going to make good on his threat and kill 2 of them. And then 2 of them essentially charge, saying they're not going to be his victims, only to be kicked in the stomach and fall to the floor like a sack of doorknobs, proving how useless feminists are. Officer Montoya of the GCPD arrives and convinces Victor Zsasz to let the girl go by taking his place as the hostage, and then Batman crashes in through the window to save the day. And just before Zsasz can slit Montoya's throat, she then headbutts Zsasz, telling Batman that now would be a good time to bring this serial killer down. Batman chases after Zsasz, and the fight begins. And it is a good fight. And Batman clearly won. But then when Zsasz taunts him, telling him to kill him, implying that they're alike and prey on innocent people, Batman just gives him a pounding. And when I say pounding, I mean to the point where Zsasz's blood is literally on Batman's hand. Until Montoya has to barge into the room and tell him that it's over. He won. The comic ends with Batman sitting on a rooftop as he's being spied on by one of Bane's flunkies, as he knows he's gonna have to come to blows with Bane. He knows Bane is powerful, and he knows that he's being broken down by essentially having to run the gauntlet 24/7 against all of his greatest foes without so much as 5 minutes of sleep. In all fairness, Batman issue 493 is a very good comic. And although Batman bringing down Victor Zsasz is the focal point of the book, get 2 pages to show that Bane is watching what's going on, and despite being the main antagonist of this event, he is watching Batman's every movement, as opposed to being, well, like Doomsday, who just came in to beat Superman to death. Something else brilliant about this comic is the name of the place where the climax occurs. Bates School for Women. This whole thing sounds like a slasher movie, and that's what it's named. Bates School for Women, which is an obvious allusion to Norman Bates from Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. And that is kind of a unique way to look at Victor Zsasz as this modern incarnation or modern take on Norman Bates from Alfred Hitchcock's 1960 adaptation of the novel Psycho. In all fairness, Batman issue 493 is a decent comic, and I suggest that you give it a read if you can find it, or if you can find a Batman Nightfall graphic novel, you should definitely check out the 3rd chapter.